Hello again, boys and girls. Now we're going to do math. We're going to continue talking about the concepts of time, and let's review what we learned yesterday. Actually, things we've been doing all year long. We talked about the words before and after. We talked about things that we do before snack and things that we do after snack. Those are also concepts of time. Somebody might say to you, when do you have snack? And you would say, after computer. We also talked about words like first, next, and last. Somebody might say, well, when did you do this? And you say, well, I did it first, and then next, I did this, and last, I did something else. Those are also concepts of time. Okay, yesterday we also talked about the calendar, which we've been doing all year long, and we talked about how the calendar is made up of days. And we know from science, right, each day is 24 hours. That's how long it takes the Earth to rotate to make day and night. And each day, one whole row on the calendar, is a week. Very good. And that all of those weeks together, usually 4, make up the whole, right, month. So now we're in the month of May, and after we have completed all of the month of May, we'll start a new month, the month of June. And then, day by day, we'll fill it up, make weeks, and go on to the next month. And we also talked about how all those months, how many months, do you remember? 12. 12 months make one whole year. And one whole year is 365 days. Unless it's a leap year like this year, which would be 366. Okay. Last week in science we talked about the seasons and we talked about time. We said each season is 3 months. So 4 seasons and each season is 3 months, and altogether that will make one whole year. Okay, today we're going to talk about duration. Duration is how much time it takes to do something. And what we're going to do today is compare duration. Which activity would take more time and which activity would take less time. So Mr. Pat and I are going to do a couple demonstrations to help you understand how to compare duration. Straight. Okay. So first, we're going to, at the same time, because that's the best way to compare duration, so you can see us doing it at the same time, 2 similar tasks, 2 similar activities. So Mr. Pat's going to write his first name, which is Patrick, and I'm going to write my first and my last name. Okay, it's not a race, it's to help you understand which will take more time. So you can predict now. Take a guess with the information I gave you. Make a good guess. He's writing his first name. I'm going to write my first and last name. Okay, so if you guessed that Mr. Pat's activity would be less time, it would have less duration, then you were correct. And can you tell me why you guessed? Right, because he was only writing his first name, and I was writing my first and last name. So I had more to write, which means I need more time to do it. Okay, for our next activity, what are we going to do next? Water. Let's have a glass of water.
Okay.
All right. So, Mr. Pat, you go upstairs to my kitchen and get a glass of water.
Okay.
I'm going to use the sink down here.
Okay.
So, Mr. Pat's going to go upstairs to get a glass of water, and I'm going to use the sink down here. Which do you think will have more duration? Which will take more time? We'll be back in a minute. I'm back. I have my glass of water. So if you guessed that my activity would take less time, less duration, then you are correct. Okay, why did his activity take more time? Right, because he had to travel further. He had to go upstairs for his glass of water. And I have a sink down here and got a glass of water from there. Okay. Okay, let's compare the duration of another activity. Mr. Pat, why don't you, there's a marker right there, draw. So you get, no, use a marker from over there. Okay, Mr. Pat is going to draw a tree. Purple tree? Use your colors right. Alright, you draw a tree.
Okay.
And I'm going to draw a dog. Which do you think will take more time? We're comparing duration. Which one will take more time? So you draw a tree, and I'll draw a dog.
Pretty little tree.
Okay, if you guessed that Mr. Pat would finish first because his activity would take less time, then you were correct. Now, why do you think his took less time? Right. His is a simpler drawing than mine, and Miss Sweeney had a dog requires more details, right? So mine took more time, and his took less time. Okay, we'll do one more activity before I explain to you what you're going to practice. Okay. Did you, Okay. Okay, I have 2 cherries, and Mr. Pat has a banana. Which do you think would take more time to eat? Which would take less time? We're going to compare duration. The time it will take. Let's see. I don't want to eat that seed. That wouldn't be good for my belly. Are there little seeds in that banana?
Don't see any. Maybe at the bottom.
Miss Sweeney finished her 2 cherries. Now, even though I had more than him, I had 2. He had 1 banana. His requires more time. Why? Right. He had to unwrap it. He had to open his banana. And there's more there to eat than 2 cherries. Okay, Mr. Pat, thank you for comparing duration with us. Okay, here's a couple of activities for you to think about. Okay. Which takes more time? Taking a bath or a shower? And let's think about why. Right, taking a bath would take more time. Why? Well, because then you have to fill up the tub, right? Put all the water in it. Then you have to get in it and wash yourself, right? But when you take a shower, the water and washing happens at the same time. So, a bath has greater duration. It takes more time. Okay, what would you think would take less time? Washing the dishes in the sink or going outside and washing the whole car? Right, washing the dishes in the sink would take less time because there's not as much there to wash. Good job. Okay, what would take more time? Driving to school or walking to school? Right. Would I ask him more time? Yes, walking would take more time, so it would have greater duration. Okay. Okay, if you wanted to go to an island in the water, or at the beach, there's an island, what would take less time? Driving a boat there or swimming? Right. Driving a boat there would take less time. Good job. Okay, what do you think takes more time? When I prepare dinner for myself or prepare my dog's food? Which would take less time? Right. Preparing my dog's dinner because I'll give them a scoop of their food. I mix some special yummies on top and their food is done. But me, no, I have to take everything out of the refrigerator and then I have to cook it. So, that would definitely take more time. Okay, so that's what duration is. Duration is how long it takes to do something. And we will talk more about actual time in terms of hours. But now we're talking about duration so that you can understand how the clock works. Okay, so it's great that we just did seasons last week because this paper talks about the seasons. And they are a concept of time too because they happen all year and each season lasts 3 months. And there are 4 seasons in a whole year. Okay, and then you're going to do a page in your book comparing duration, which takes more time, which takes less time. You can also do the checkpoint, check your progress. That's just the things that we've talked about yesterday and today. And then there's going to be one page again of comparing duration. So like a girl riding a bike or a boy walking. And for each one, Miss Sweeney wrote what she wants you to circle. So more begins with M, so you don't have to ask mom or dad to read it. More begins with N, and less begins with L. Use your clues. All right, boys and girls. We are out of time. No, not really, but I just wanted to use the word time because we're talking about time. So now you learned another concept of time. Duration. More time, less time. All right, boys and girls, I'll see you in a little while for religion.